Hi there, we're looking at the equivalency between fractions, decimals and percentages, so which fractions, decimals and percentages are the same. To help us approach both question 3 and another question here for you to have a go at later on, I'm going to start with this idea. We'll just start by thinking about percentages from 0 to 100%, and if we go in the middle there we'll find 50%, and I just want to choose a slightly more random percentage, so let's go with around about here would be 15%, and somewhere up here let's say we've got 80%. Now the easiest way to convert those from percentages to fractions is that a percentage is out of 100. So 15% for example means 15 out of 100. 50 is 50 out of 100. 80% the same. Obviously if we look at 100%, that means the whole lot, 100 out of 100. Now with these fractions we can simplify them. So for example, for 15 over 100, 5 goes into 15 and it goes into 100, and actually it's the highest common factor of both. Now 5 goes into 15 3 times, and 5 goes into 100 20 times, which means that 15% can be turned into a fraction as 15 over 100 and then simplified to 3/20. If we also look at 50%, the highest number that goes into both 50 and 100 is actually 50. How many times does 50 go into 50? Well, it goes once. How many times does 50 go into 100? Twice. And that's why 50% is the same as a half. If we move over to 80% here, we've got 80 over 100. Now the highest number that goes into both of those, well 10 goes in, but there's a higher number that goes into both. It's actually 20. Now 20 goes into this 4 times, that's 80, and 20 goes into 100 once more, that's 5 times. So we can see that 80% is 4/5. And for this one here, well, the highest number to go into both the numerator and denominator of 100 over 100 is 100. It goes in once on the top and once on the bottom. So that's how we can convert from percentages to fractions. Percentages to decimals is more straightforward than that. You'll see here that we had 15 hundredths. So that means that we need to have a decimal that goes to the hundredths, and there needs to be 15 of them. For this one here, it needs to be 50 hundredths, but there's no need to put the 0 on the end. We end up with 0.5. If we go back to the next one, 80%, that means 80 going down to the hundredths. And again, there's no need to put the 0 on the end. Another way of looking at it is that we take 15 and we divide it by 100. We take 50 and we divide it by 100. We take 80 and we divide it by 100. And that's how you can convert to the decimals. So just as a recap, if we've got percentages, if we've got fractions, and if we've got decimals, then we can, to go from percentages to decimals, we can divide by 100, which means to go back the other way, you times by 100. To go from percentages to fractions, you need to write it as the percentage out of 100 and then simplify. To go from fraction to percentages can be more difficult depending on the fraction, because what you want to try and do is change it into an equivalent fraction over 100. However, a more straightforward way is to do the numerator, number on the top, and divide that by the denominator, number on the bottom, and then times your answer by 100 and you get a percentage. and fractions to decimals is just the numerator divided by the denominator. Decimals to fractions, the easiest way to do it is if you've got something like 0.12, well, the 2 is in the hundredths column, so that would be 12 hundredths, and then simplify. I hope that's given you some idea about how we can go about these questions over here. So what fractional decimals are equivalent to 25%? So if we start with 25% and think about how we can convert that first of all to a fraction out of 100. So that will be 25 out of 100. And that can be simplified because 5 goes into both of these, but there's still a higher number that goes into both. In fact, it's 25. 25 goes once into 25, and 25 goes 4 times into 100, meaning that 25% is the same as 1/4. Now, in terms of decimals, if we take 25% and divide that 25 by 100, you'll find it's the same as 0.25. And also, that 5 there is in the hundredths column, and hence 25 hundredths is the fraction. At this point, you might want to pause the video, have a bit of a recap, see if you can have a go at a few yourselves, and then have a go at this question here. And once you've done that and you've got an answer, then start the video again from this point and we'll see if you were right. So we're looking at give a fraction and the decimal which are equivalent to 35%. I hope that you started by turning 35% into a fraction over 100. And then identifying that 5 goes into 35 7 times and 100 20 times, meaning that 35% is the same as 7/20. And as a decimal, just taking 35, dividing it by 100 and getting 0.35. I hope that worked for you and that helped. Best of luck with the rest of your maths.